You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Zach Bechtold and Matt Franks. If you'd like to learn more about the Bearded Theologians, you can go online at beardedtheologians.com, where we have past podcasts, blogs, and a couple items for sale. So check us out, beardedtheologians.com. Thank you for listening, and enjoy this week's show. You're listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast, hosted by Matt Franks
and Zach Bechtold. And we have a couple of really special guests with us today. Some guys I've wanted to talk to for a while now. We have Mark and Josh with us. They work for Teton Guitars, which I'm particularly fond of as far as instruments are concerned. But Mark, Josh, glad to have you guys with us this morning. Would you tell our listeners a little bit about you guys? Who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Oh, sure thing. Yeah, thank you guys so much for having us on. So, yeah, my name's Mark. Over here, we've got Josh. I'll start with Josh. We'll tell you guys a little bit about ourselves.
Yeah. So, as mentioned, my name's Joshua Claflin. I'm the marketing director here at Teton Guitars. I am the new guy in the gang. I've been here for about 8 months, and my job is all about marketing, specifically focused on customers, on spreading the good word of Teton. So ever since I've been here, it's been a nonstop party. It's been a blast. And Teton Guitars is a really exciting place to work. We're always coming out with new things, working on new products, trying out new things to fill the gaps of the music industry and give people like you yourself or artists all across the world what they need. So yeah, I spend every day surrounded by guitars and talking about guitars, which, as you can tell, is a real burden on my soul.
It is such a burden. I tell you what. Yeah, and once again, my name is Mark, and I've been with Teton Guitars since the very beginning. Of course, our Teton Guitars is tied with the parent company, Chesbrough Music Company, and I've been with the company altogether. This is my 20th year, so hooray to me. My job function here, pertaining to Teton Guitars, is I am the mad scientist that heads up the creative division as far as developing new guitars, new ideas there. And that's pretty much it. There's a lot entail. I know I just kind of say, I just jot down some things on a napkin and there you go, a new model. There's a lot more involved to it with that, and we may get to that later on. But yeah, in a general synopsis, that's what I do. And it's been a blast getting to know Josh and working with him. And I got to tell you guys, we still got some really cool things coming up in the future. So, yeah.
Very nice. Well, this is a little different podcast for us, or you guys are a little bit different guests. Normally we have, pastors and people who have written books and folks that are doing, ministry out in their communities. But there's something very just spiritual or theological or just overall in depth that music brings to the world. And that's why I wanted to have you guys on just to talk about the function, just to talk about instruments, because it really doesn't matter what you believe, what you're doing. When you throw music behind that, it captures audiences. It touches people's souls in ways that, other things don't. And so we appreciate you guys coming in and sharing a little bit about that on your end of what you guys do there at Teton. So could you tell us a little bit about, when I was talking to Josh beforehand a couple of weeks ago, he said you're just looking to put good out in the world. And how are you guys doing that through Teton Guitars?
Yeah, I'll start that off if you don't mind. That was a big thing that really drew me to this brand. As you mentioned, music is just such a pivotal part of our existence. No matter, like you said, no matter what you believe, who you are, where you're from, music's there. And I was just thinking about that this morning, and I was like, even animals will react to music, right? Yeah. Like you got dolphins out there dancing. So what drew me to Teton Guitars and why it's such a pleasure and a joy working here is the ridiculous focus that we have on musicians and making sure that our instruments are made to be played and are able to be played. They're priced at a price point that makes it so anybody can grab them and be blown away. One of the things we love and that we hope for is when people pick up a guitar, especially a Teton guitar, they say, "Holy cow, I did not know a guitar could sound this good." And it's something that can, what's the word? Like help them grow their creativity and express themselves. For me, I was the most awkward child on the planet until I grabbed a guitar. I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know how to express emotions. I was just a stone wall. And my mom, I remember her asking, like, "Am I a good mom?" I was like, "Yeah, you're great. You just don't really communicate feeling." I was like, "Oh gosh, I failed as a son," until I found music and I could finally be like, "Here's how I express myself." And so that's been the focus here. Everybody is very aware at all times through the business that we're doing that these are going to weirdos like me, that these are going to people who need it. And yes, this is a business. It keeps us alive. It feeds our family. But at the end of the day, these products, these guitars are changing people's lives. And that's a big focus. And that's kind of felt throughout all the different jobs we have here, from Mark designing and stuff to marketing it to shipping them out. Everyone's like, "Oh yeah, guitar has infected my life in some way." And we can't wait for it to do the same for these kids, these people, these podcast hosts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, much the same. I mean, being to a number of trade shows and a number of events and seeing people's reaction to not only our guitars, which is special in and of itself, but also to music in general. It's just you get into an environment of creativity, of passion, of drive, what you name it. There's an energy that's indescribable. You'll see it at concerts, but then when you get to the musicians themselves, it's almost like, yeah, I can't put words to it. It's just a feeling. And, much like what Josh said with his personal story, yeah, guitar is what saved me. I started playing guitar, man, that's been mid 90s is when I started. I was kind of lost. I'm an only child, and like a number of us growing up, I was bullied quite a bit, and it's just like, you get lost in a way. When I found guitar, it was almost like that. Something clicked in me to where it's like guitar is just amazing. Man, I want to continue doing this. So I studied guitar for 10 years. And honestly, guys, that's what saved me. I don't even want to think about where I would be if it weren't for guitar, to be honest with you. And because of my passion for guitar, here we are. I'm sitting talking to you guys, and we're part of a really great company.
Right. There's thank you both for sharing those stories, because I know you're not the only ones. We all have that moment where music has changed our lives in some form or fashion. Like I said, whether it's picking up a guitar or being able to put pen to paper and, write music, or just sing along in the radio and connect with people. Music does something just deep down within us. And when we're lost, we can find some kind of ground to hang on to and move forward. We find our voice in that way. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I know there's countless stories to go along with that. Just over and over again, we encounter people every day that music is why they are where they are or where they're not.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'd hate to think where I would be without it. Right.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't pick up the guitar until I was well an adult. I had somebody hand me a bass guitar because they're like, "Oh, like we could teach you how to do this." And so learned with the bass. Bass isn't for me. I love bass. I love playing the bass. Hate playing it by myself. Not that much fun. And so went out and picked up a guitar and dinked around for a few years, and found a few years ago, I moved out into rural Montana, I live in Wyoming now, but I was in Montana for a while. And when we were out there, my wife and I discovered after, I don't know, 12, 13 years of marriage, we like sitting down and playing music together. And so really started digging into to the guitar. She started learning a little bit of piano, and it was something that, we just enjoy doing together, and brought our marriage to a different place, a bunch of years later, which is really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, just because of a little bit of guitar, piano, and music. It's fun.
Yeah. No, that's I mean, the closest friends I have in life. Well, not all of them, but the ones that it seems like I can connect with at any moment and say whatever I want, share any opinion, whatever. It's like we've jammed together.
Yeah.
That's like the bond. It's like, okay, you're friends, and it's all building up to like, all right, we've jammed together. Okay, now free reign. You be you, I'll be me.
That's right.
We've jammed.
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly right.
So for a marriage, I imagine that's very freeing and very awesome.
Yeah. Well, once you get through the frustrating parts of, no, this is how it goes. It's a lot of fun. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about how Teton got started.
Ooh, that is a story in and of itself. So earlier I mentioned that, in the bigger scale, we're part of Chesbrough Music Company. Chesbrough Music Company has been around for 110 years, believe it or not. So we'll take you back in the past. So we started in 1911, has a small shop out of Seattle. A few years went by, we moved to where we're at now, Idaho Falls, Idaho. Again, a retail operation. Then we slowly got into wholesale distribution. We worked with great brands such as Yamaha early on. We were a distributor for them. But the big partner that we had for 37 years was a partnership we had with Hoshino Gaki, otherwise known as Ibanez Tama. Fantastic years. It was a great opportunity for us to work with what is now one of the biggest names in guitar and drums, really. Just working with them, helping grow their company, and then also learning from them. And his business it came to a point to where we needed to part ways. And that's when the genesis for Teton came about. We absolutely love guitar. Or most of us are guitar players here. So we're like, man, gosh, we need to do something. There's this fire inside of us. It's not only from a business perspective that we need to do something, but deep down inside, it's like, we love guitars. We need to do something. Man, it'd be awesome to just start out with an acoustic line. Yeah. So what we ended up doing is, obviously we weren't set up for manufacturing at that point here in the US. Possibly in the future we'll get there, but really what we needed was overseas production. And that's, hey, we know overseas production because we worked with Ibanez, and we ended up meeting, who's our factory right now, meeting the people there and talking with them. And at that point, all they were doing were classical guitars. They were fantastic classical guitars, but it was only classical. So we started putting the bug in the air. We'll take your classicals, we'll work with them. But man, can you do acoustics? Dreadnought size, steel string. Oh, we don't have any experience doing that. And then that's when our experience came in. And so we just drafted up a bunch of designs, bracing, everything that you can think of that goes into making an acoustic guitar, and worked with them step by step by step. And man alive, they took those designs, made exactly what we were after, which is a fantastic sounding guitar, quality, and it's affordable. And that's what we were wanting to do. That's the entry into, we want great acoustics for musicians who maybe just starting out, or maybe are just looking to upgrade from their Yamaha starter kit, but whatever. But they are fantastic guitars, and the factory just ran with it. It's to the point now to where our communication is just like, oh, I know what you're thinking, Mark. I already started doing that, a couple of months ago. Well, wow. Did I just Skype you in my dreams or something? But yeah, that's how it started. It started, on the business side, losing our relationship with Ibanez, but the inspiration behind Teton, I mean, everything was happening all at once, right? So we wanted to do a guitar line. What do we call it? Well, we're not that far away from Teton National Park, which is absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if you guys have been there. Certainly you, Zach, and you've probably been there. Just absolutely breathtaking. And it's like, man, again, like what we talked about earlier with music, there's a feel there. There's something, I mean, all of us are going to put our own, what we feel in the music industry, or what music makes us feel. There's something with the Teton National Park. Each and every single time that I go there, even though I've been there several times, you'd think, okay, this is like Disneyland. I'm bored. Same ride, same screaming kids.
Right.
But but with Teton National Park, even though right now there's record number of visitors, so it's almost like a theme park, really. Yet you can't pull that power out of nature. You cannot pull that feeling, that inspiration out of nature, no matter how many people are there, no matter how many photographers are photographing the same barn over and over. It still has just that powerful feeling. And that's kind of what we wanted to, in our own way, pull that inspiration, that power, merge it with music, and create Teton Guitars. I'm being dramatic, but you guys get the point.
No, I love it. National parks, Teton, Yellowstone Glacier, near and dear to my heart. And I've sat on, the sides of mountains and the shores of rivers and lakes and stuff. And there's something powerful about that in those spaces. And like you say, to tie that into music and just really anything that we do. Yeah, let's pull that power and see what happens. See how this world changes.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
So that's really what's kind of built it, is all of these good things: the music, nature, and then this is very much a family business.
Yep.
In a good way.
Right.
And
mom and dad aren't constantly fighting.
But there is definitely a familial feeling going throughout the company, and especially with our manufacturing partners overseas. They're also a small family company, and that's how we just grooved so well. And so we just consider them part of the family, and decisions that are made here are, sometimes I've been blown away, like, how can we make this decision? But it comes down to, you guys are our family. This is what we do. We take care of each other. It really impressed me this last year with COVID. It was a huge effect on the world. But the music industry first saw a lot of problems with getting inventory from China or from overseas. But then also there was the huge music boom because everyone was at home. We were able to completely be a part of that, and that really has helped with the momentum of the brand, because our CEO, Tana Stan, when it came time to figure out, are we receiving the shipment from China, are we going to have this keep going, when every other company on the world said, stop, everybody stop, don't ship it, she said, no, we've made a commitment to our factory, to the people here, you ship that bad boy. And so thanks to her, we still all have jobs and we're still running things. But it's definitely, there's decisions made. It is a business, but there's so much where it's just care for us, care for the musicians, care for the community, that I feel like is really what sets Teton Guitars apart. You can hear it in the way when you play it, but as you get to know the brand and the people behind it, it just adds so much more color to it. The first time I was interviewing with our CEO, I'm like, hey, does now work? She's like, oh, sorry, I'm actually out driving around town dropping off instruments for kids because school program shut down. And I was like, how? This is the CEO of this massive business, and here she is out there driving around, stopping door to door, dropping off trumpets and saxophones and stuff like that.
I love that. Because that, like you said, that comes through comes through in the instrument, right? The love and care and attention that you put forward just on any end of that product. But you tell that story and it's like, yeah, I hear that when I play my guitar.
Yeah.
I know that everybody that's involved with this one cares. It's not just a product. It's not just slap some wood together, put some strings on it and get it out of there, so we can make some money. It's no, we want to make sure people have something that they can play that sounds good, that sounds the way they want it to, and it's going to last. I don't know. I bought mine a year ago. Yeah, about a year ago, almost a year ago. And from the first time I looked at every brand you wanted to look at, couldn't find anything that I liked the sound of, just didn't fit. And then I picked this one up from you guys, and I couldn't put it down. I mean, it just, you guys make a quality product. You make a dang good guitar.
Yeah. Same thing happened to me. I mean, as far as guitar, my main version of guitar has always been electric guitar, because much like you, Zach, acoustic wise, I just couldn't find something that fit who I wanted to be as far as an acoustic player. But man, same things. I picked up our first batch of Tetons, that first one, and you play it and then you have to stop, because it's almost like your breath has been taken away. It's like, man, this guitar is going to get down on its knees and give me a ring. Like, it is just unbelievable. And then from there you do that pause, like, I can't believe it sounds this great. And then you continue playing, and then yes, you can't stop. Yeah. And that's the story with a lot of people that pick up our guitars. So
yeah, just last week or 2 weeks ago, we went out and we just grabbed it's one of our standard series. It's called the STS 100 NT. So which, if you look at all of the models we have, it kind of looks like, oh, this is your beginner model. Nope. Because sometimes I overlook that when we have such beautiful woods and stuff that we're using and such cool designs, that it's easy to get focused on that. And going back to kind of our original first model, picked it up right out of the box, and I was like, oh my, I forget. I'm surrounded by such awesome stuff all the time. Like, holy cow, right? This is a great guitar.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I've got a buddy who he's a music director, and his biggest pet peeve in this life is people telling others they can't sing, right? Or they can't do music. And there's something I found especially special with my Teton guitar of, one, it's giving me a quality product that I probably shouldn't own. I'm not good enough to play it, right? Something that sounds that good. But it's given me a chance to have something that's quality, right? While everybody else is like, no, you don't need that. Get the base model of anything else and start there. It's like, well, I started there, but it's not enough. I've stalled out and I want to get better, but it doesn't sound the way I want it to. And I always hear his voice in the back of my head of, man, we got to quit telling people they can't, or they shouldn't, or whatever. And let's give them the tools and the products and resources that make them feel like they can. Because you go back to, that's how we put good in the world, right? When we feel good and it feels like we're making a difference and we're making music or helping people or whatever it is, right? When we give people those resources and that encouragement to just do a little bit more, something beautiful there.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It goes to the fact that we're all different. We don't approach things the same. It may be similar, but we don't approach things the same. We all learn at different rates, different ways, different methods. And yeah, I hate the concept of, oh, you do not have what it takes to be a star. You go over here. You are genius. You are magic. Right. Come here. No, it's everybody has that within themselves. It's just they're at maybe at different points in their life where you're with somebody that you don't know their story. You don't know, something may be going on at home that you are not aware of that is preventing them from approaching anything with any sort of passion or fervor, because they go home and they shut down. Right. That's what you're not seeing. And then to come into a scholastic setting and having a teacher or a professor tell you, oh, you're no good. You're doing this all wrong. It's you're getting hit at home. You're getting hit at school. So these people tend to shut down to where, yeah, I agree with you, man. We need to stay positive, and we are positive. That's what we are about. That's what we wanted to be from the beginning. That's what we want to do now. We always encourage everybody, from somebody who's just starting out, whether they're 13 years old or whether somebody is in their 50s on up. Hey, I've always wanted to play guitar, just didn't have the time, but I picked up this guitar, strummed the open strings, and it sounded great. I'm no professional, but it's like fantastic. Go for it.
Yeah, go nuts, right?
Go nuts. Have at it. Or we all make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. It's part of the learning process. And sometimes, some people forget that, unfortunately. So,
Yeah. No, I was just listening to something this morning where there's, I guess, a global push. We all want unity. But unity isn't sameness. Unity is all of the different pieces coming together, sharing their different thing. And so that's the one thing I've loved about seeing these guitars in action is there's my style of playing, there's Mark's style of playing, there's your style of playing, there's all these different sounds coming from it. But I just love that the guitar, or just music itself, it doesn't go one way. It's just like, hey, here I am. I'm your tool, use me.
Yeah, I really like that. Just that freedom. It seems like as people, we get stuck in the unwritten rules of life, whatever it is we're doing, whether it's music or I promise Matt I wouldn't talk a lot about running on the podcast, but reading this book about running, and throughout the whole thing, the message is there's no rule book. Nobody ever wrote a rule that said if you're running a marathon, you can't walk a little bit, or if you're running a mile, that you can't walk a little bit, right? It doesn't matter how you do it. Just do the way you can, do what feels right that day, and find your space in that. And that's through running, through music, through just all of my life, finding those ways to, break down some of those societal norms and all the things that people have always told you, oh, you can't do it that way. Right. And it's like, no, I can, because this is the way I do it. Right. And this is what brings me joy, and how I'm able to move forward, and being okay with that, give a lot of permission giving for myself, but trying to pass that on to others of, hey, however you need to get it done, it's okay.
Yeah. It's cool that also as you go forward and kind of do your thing, it opens doors for other people. Speaking of running, sorry, Matt. Tom Cruise is the weirdest runner on the planet, but it looks beautiful on screen. If you saw him running a marathon next to you, right, the exaggerated arms flailing and stuff, you'd be like, dude, you're going to be worn out in 100 feet. Do the Raptor run or whatever.
That's right. Keep it tight.
Yeah. But that is the standard for movies now. If you're running in an action scene, you pump those arms, baby. You get them up. You look like you're chugging a beer with everything, And that's, it's opened this whole new way for people to do that. And that's through film, but I'm sure there's a marathon runner out there who's Tom Cruise in it.
That's going to be the YouTube hole I go in later today. Oh, that's awesome. Matt, do you have anything?
There are times when you're in a conversation, you just sit and enjoy listening, like in a group of people. And that's kind of how I've been today, is just enjoy listening to the conversation. I'm not, I own 2 guitars, but that just means I own them in principle, and they look good in my office. And it looks just like I'm a runner. I have running shoes, but I do not run. And so, I appreciate the guitar. I appreciate, especially like listening to Zach, seeing your praises about what you all do, and the quality of your, actually, when I visited Zach this past April, he showed me the guitar that he has, your all's guitar. I mean, it's an amazing
instrument. I mean, even just playing on it like I did, I was like, wow, this is great. And he's like, we're gonna get these guys on the show. I was like, oh, that's gonna be awesome. Like, I think this will be a fun conversation. And it definitely has been. And I think that's like the whole deal is like getting who you all are and what you all do out, in the world and hitting different spaces that maybe you didn't. I never had heard of you until Zach was singing your praises after he'd bought one. And I think that's these kind of spaces go a long way, getting it out there, word of mouth and all that, all that marketing jazz. And so, I just, thanks for being on with us today. I mean, giving your time to be here with us and at a, not necessarily a normal format for us or probably for you all. I just appreciate you all coming and talking with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
Can you let our listeners know? Oh, do you guys have anything else to add? I mean, anything else you want to talk about? I could do this all day.
We can too. I mean, I can tell stories and stories and stories. Yeah.
No, I mean, I guess some plugs.
Please, yeah. Tell us.
Yeah,
where can we find you on social media, artists, just anything you want people to go find.
At Teton Guitars on social media, tetonguitars.com, or go to your local music store and say, where are the Teton Guitars? Either they have them or they should have them. We'll get them to them if they don't. Keep your eyes out though. As Mark said, there's a lot of exciting stuff happening here. As far as the stories we're telling, the stuff we're releasing, and the guitars that are landing. There's some really cool stuff in the works. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll add all of those links to all of our social media pages and to go out with this episode of the podcast. If you guys ever just want to like accidentally lose a guitar in Wyoming, man, I'd love to find it. No, we really appreciate your time. We really appreciate you telling stories. You guys have an open invitation to come back and bring artists with you, anything you want to do and just share what you do and put some more good into the world.
Awesome. Sure thing. Thanks.
Yeah, make an accidental trip through Idaho Falls and complete
gonna have
stuff.
to. First week of August. I'll be in that neighborhood.
So we want to thank our listeners for listening, and we'll have all their links through this week's post or the week that we use this post, and you can find all that at thebeardedtheologians.com. And so for the Bearded Theologians, I'm Matt Franks.
I'm Zach Bechtold. Thanks for checking us out.
First, guys, I want you to subscribe and like this video and push that thumbs up.
Thank you for listening to the Bearded Theologians podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share on all social media outlets. You can check out old episodes and more information at beardedtheologians.com. Thanks for checking us out.